Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NBA slate on DraftKings for Wednesday, October the 17th. This is our first big slate of the year. After Tuesday's two-game slate, we have an 11-game slate on Wednesday. I'm sort of going to do pretty much how I did on Tuesday and go position by position and talk about some of my favorite plays at the position, my favorite studs, mid-tier plays, and value plays. And of course, as we go, I will build my 5 core plays. These are 5 guys that I expect to have a lot of exposure to come lineup lock. One thing to note, when it comes to my NBA videos, I do record these the night before, so if you are new to the channel, I record my videos the night before. I give sort of my first in-depth look at the slate and talk about how I'm going to approach it. I'll try and go through as many injuries as I can, just give you guys as much information as I can. Obviously, with NBA, you have to be at your computer when it comes to lock time. You've got to be prepared for news. When guys get ruled out in NBA, you've got to be prepared for, if he gets ruled out, then I need to plug this guy in. If this guy's out, I need to put this guy in. Never just take my videos as a, plug in who I have and then build around them. That's not really going to work long term. Obviously, I will try and make these videos as pretty much as helpful as I can without just giving you guys a full lineup. But definitely don't tune into these videos 10 minutes before lock, plug in the guys I have, and then build a lineup around them, because that's just not going to be profitable over time. But hopefully, I do make these videos, just give as much information in these videos as I can to where they are worth your time watching. So if you are new to the channel and you enjoyed these NBA videos, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe, turn on the bells, or trigger the bell, turn on the bell, so that way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. And make sure you drop a like, I would really appreciate that as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and look at point guard and start off at the top of this position where we do have James Harden at 11,500. He gets a pretty good matchup against the Pelicans. The Pelicans were not really good defensively last year against the point guard. They did lose Rajon Rondo, though, who was their primary defender when it came to defending point guards. He was not a very good defender. Drew Holiday, on the other hand, pretty underrated defender, pretty good defender. But this game in general, between the Pelicans and the Rockets, is a game we're going to want to have exposure to. I expect it to be played at a very fast pace. Two teams that like to run up and down the court. Expect a lot of points here. I do like Harden at 11.5. I think I prefer Anthony Davis on the other side. We'll talk about AD when we get to power forward. He's probably one of my favorite overall plays on the slate. But Harden, I will for sure have exposure to. Chris Paul as well, I will for sure have some exposure to. I think, though, if I'm making one lineup, I'm not going to include these guys. But I'm going to be playing a lot of MME this year, playing 150 lineups like in the mini-max and stuff. Pretty much trying to get good at tournaments is what I'm going to try and do this NBA season. And I will for sure have some exposure to these guys. Victor Oladipo at 8K, I don't think I'm going to have a ton of exposure to. Against Memphis, a slow-paced team, I don't really love Oladipo. Like a lot of these mid-tier plays, I don't have a ton of interest in, besides Harden, Chris Paul. Maybe Drew Holiday at 7,500 you could consider if you want to go to him. Maybe a guy like Kyle Lowry, but I don't think these are like core plays for me. There is some value at point guard that I do like. One of my 5 core plays is going to come from point guard. I expect to have a lot of exposure to that guy when we get down there. But getting back to the top, CP3, Harden, I think, definitely in play. This mid-range, not a ton sticks out to me here. I'm obviously not going to be able to go through every single play, so if you are new, don't cover just every single guy. I don't want the video to be too long. I'll just try and hit on the guys that just really catch my eye early looks of this slate. And in this mid-range, there isn't a ton that really catches my eye. So let's go to the value. We'll talk about Patty Mills. At 4,600, I do really like Patty Mills here. This Spurs team, when it comes to point guards, if we look at their depth chart real quickly, pull up point guards for San Antonio, they already have 2 guys that are out. Derek White just got hurt. Deontay Murray tore his ACL, so it's pretty much going to be Patty Mills and Brian Forbes just getting all the point guard minutes. Obviously, DeRozan's going to be handling the ball a ton, but I expect Patty Mills and Forbes to both get plenty of minutes. And I feel like Patty Mills is most likely going to be the starter. When Mills got playing time last year, he was pretty efficient when it came to fantasy. Against Minnesota, a team that doesn't defend the point guard well, at least they didn't last year. I do like this spot for Patty Mills. And at 4,600, plan on having plenty of exposure to him, especially at this price tag. You could also go to Forbes, but I think Mills is most likely a better play, just talking about value. But like cheap options, not a lot I love. I think if I'm going cheap, it's going to be from the Spurs, their point guard situation with Forbes and with Patty Mills. So let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard. And I won't really talk about the plays already mentioned. So you do have Kawhi Leonard, who is shooting guard eligible, and he is 8,100 against Cleveland. Kawhi Leonard, it's going to be interesting to see how the Raptors use him. I do expect him to be like the vocal point of this offense. I think we're going to see Kawhi just really play well this year. Obviously a candidate for MVP. 8,100, Kawhi feels like a really good play here against a Cleveland team that just isn't good. I expect Toronto to easily be able to win this game. It does concern me a bit if Cleveland can actually hang with Toronto here. But if you think Cleveland can keep this thing close, Kawhi Leonard at 8,100 is for sure in play for me today. Obviously, I prefer him over Oladipo, and if I'm going to pay up for shooting guard besides Harden, Kawhi would be the guy I would play. But like a lot of the shooting guard plays, I kind of already talked about. Like I know you can play Mills at shooting guard, you can play Brian Forbes if you want to go to him as a value play. You can use him at shooting guard. Like guys that stick out to me, there isn't a ton, at least early looks at this slate. We will talk about a guy sub 5K that I really like, but in that mid range, there isn't a ton that sticks out to me. But at 4,600, got another play here, a value play. Wesley Matthews against Phoenix, I love here. We know this Phoenix team last year at least was a team that didn't play a lot of good defense. They played at a really fast pace. This is a good spot for Wesley Matthews, and if we pull up, if we pull up Dallas's injuries, this is a team that's pretty injury hurt right now. So Harrison Barnes, not expected to play. Dirk is going to be out. Dwight Powell is questionable. Maxi Kleber is questionable as well. So that's a lot of minutes to go around, especially Harrison Barnes being out. That's the big one. When Barnes was out last year, obviously this team isn't the same as last year. They picked up DeAndre Jordan. They picked up the rookie Doncic. But when Barnes was out, Wesley Matthews saw a big usage rate, saw his usage rate increase, I should say, and just really performed well with Barnes out. I expect Matthews to get a little bit more usage, get more opportunity, might even play a few more minutes. And at 4,600 against Phoenix, really good value play in my opinion. Him and Mills, I think, are both cheap options you can consider at shooting guard if you want to go cheap at this position. But let's go ahead and move on to small forward. If there are some shooting guard plays that you really like, feel free to leave a comment down below, talk about them. Always like to discuss in the comment section with you guys. But moving on to small forward, we do have Giannis at the top here, and he is 10,900. He is facing the Hornets. Giannis is obviously in play here. Obviously, like I said at the beginning, Anthony Davis, the guy I like today. Giannis, I'm going to have exposure to, though, especially in my 150. I will have him in some lineups. I don't expect him to be a guy I go crazy on today because I prefer AD. But Giannis for sure in play if you want to pay up for him. And I mentioned Kawhi, I do like as well. This is another position where a ton doesn't really stand out to me. At least in this mid-range, there aren't a ton of plays I see here that really just say, gotta play this guy. Especially like early on in the year, we don't really know how teams are going to use the guys in their rotation, especially guys that are on maybe new teams or guys that have players picked up that could potentially take away some minutes from them. We'll be interested to see how sort of these guys gel, especially new players on new teams. There are some guys on new teams at small forward like Tyreke Evans. Now with the Pacers, actually gets a revenge game in his first game back of the year against Memphis. Revenge game for Tyreke Evans, 6,200. Did want to mention that. But like the small forward plays are kind of the same ones I've already mentioned. I know you can play Wesley Matthews at small forward. You got Carmelo down here at 5,200, who I think is going to be pretty good for the Rockets this year. Expected to come off the bench. I think Melo going to be a pretty big contributor to this Rockets team. If you want to play him for cheap at 5,200, you could for sure go there. But like cheap value, I really like the value you get at point guard and shooting guard today. I don't love the value at small forward. This position is probably going to be like guys like Kawhi if I can fit in, Giannis. In this mid-range, maybe a guy like Tim Hardaway against the Hawks. A good spot for Hardaway, revenge game as well. Maybe Mirotic against the Rockets, 6,300, we could go there. And obviously I mentioned Tyreke Evans, 6,200, revenge game against Memphis. Could possibly be a play. But let's go ahead and move on to power forward where we do have Anthony Davis. This is just a guy I love today. He is 11,100, pretty expensive, but I expect there to be plenty of value on this slate, especially early on in the year. Guys are still injured. There's going to be some value plays to where we should be able to fit AD in. He's just a really good play here against a Rockets team that plays really fast, plays up in pace. These two teams in general just play fast. The Rockets don't really have a big that can defend AD. They have Capella, but Capella can't really hang with AD. I know AD did really good against the Rockets last year in some of the games where he played against them. I really like AD here, 11-1. No Boogie Cousins. Boogie's on the Warriors now, so it's good. It's AD's team. We saw last year when Boogie missed. AD was just a monster. 60, 70 DraftKings points every game Boogie missed. Love AD here, and I think he's a great play. One of the top plays overall in this slate. But there are definitely other power forwards you could go to. We'll talk about centers. There's expensive centers as well, but other power forwards, you obviously have Giannis, who I think is in play. Kevin Love with no LeBron on Cleveland now. I expect Kevin Love to be a great fantasy option pretty much all year, but he is expensive at $8,600. I think we probably can shy away from Kevin Love here, but you could definitely go to him. I wouldn't at all mind that. I'm probably going to have exposure to Kevin Love. Blake Griffin, also a really good matchup for him against Brooklyn. We know how bad that Brooklyn front court is. Andre Drummond, when we get to center, I think he's a really good center play today. Blake Griffin also in play for me at $8,200. But in this mid-range, the plays that stick out here, LaMarcus Aldridge, $7,300 without Kawhi. I expect him to be a pretty big vocal point of the Spurs offense. Him and DeMar DeRozan are going to be big vocal points of the Spurs offense at $7,300. LMA seems just a little bit too cheap. Don't mind him at power forward. Mentioned Mirotic, who I think is in play here. Also really like Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk might go a little under the radar today because he's kind of priced up at $6,100. But if we pull up the injuries for the Heat, this is another team that's got some injuries. James Johnson already out. Dion Waiters not expected to play. Justice Winslow is doubtful. Wayne Ellington questionable as well. So Kelly Olynyk should be looking at some big minutes with James Johnson and Winslow out. Could potentially start as well. And it is a good matchup against the Magic. Not a very good defensive team. A team that does play at a really fast pace. Love Olynyk here at $6,100. If you want to go to Bam Adebayo, I think he's $5K, so he's pretty cheap. I expect him to be a good value play today as well. The Heat have some value. The Spurs have some value. There's some value from the Mavericks too, with how their injuries have shapen out. So look to those teams for cheap plays. When it comes to the Heat, Adebayo and Kelly Olynyk, I do really like as value plays. Even though Olynyk's not a cheap value play at $6,100, he does feel just a tad bit underpriced. Olynyk, last year when those guys missed, when Olynyk got some big minutes, he was really good for fantasy. Put up really big outings, and I expect him to get big minutes here against the Magic. So I think that's it for power forward. The value plays don't really catch my eye besides like Adebayo. Really aren't any other values I love on this slate. So I'd say let's go ahead and move on to center. Let's look at this position. This is a position where we do have really good stud options. Jokic against the Clippers should just absolutely dominate. With DeAndre Jordan no longer on that team, I expect Jokic to be just a beast all year when it comes for fantasy. Kind of same with Karl Anthony Towns, but I do prefer Jokic to Towns when they're just $100 or $100 difference. Andre Drummond's also in a great spot against Brooklyn. Jokic and Drummond at center. If I can pay up for those two guys, I'm going to have a ton of exposure to them. Jokic is probably my favorite play when it comes to those two, but I will for sure have exposure to both. And then kind of the same guys I've already talked about. Love, I don't mind. Blake Griffin, $8,200 you could go to. DeAndre Jordan has a really good matchup against Phoenix at $7,700. If you want to play DeAndre Jordan. Hassan Whiteside, I expect to be a monster this year as long as he can get the minutes and as long as Spoelstra will give him minutes. And it is a good matchup against the Magic, a team that we know just can't defend centers. Vucevic is not a good defender. Whiteside seems like he eats every time he plays against the Magic. At $7,300, really like him. If you want to go up from Olynyk to Whiteside, I don't mind that at all. Just a $1,200 difference. Aldridge we talked about. I think Aldridge is for sure in play. But looking for the value, there's a cheap play I like here in this 5K range. So Alex Len at $5,600. As long as he plays today, he is expected to play. I believe he's actually probable instead of questionable. He's a guy that sticks out to me at $5,600. We pull up the Hawks and their injuries. This is a team that's injured or just has some injuries in it as well, especially their back or their front court. John Collins out for this game. Dwayne Dedmon also out. So I expect Alex Len to get big minutes here. If we just look at the other centers available, only other center available is Miles Plumlee, and I don't expect him to get a ton of minutes. They have Omari Spellman, who I believe is a rookie, who'll probably get about 10-15 minutes off the bench, but Alex Len's going to be the guy that the Hawks really use in their front court with all these injuries. I expect Len to get 30-35 minutes, and when Len was on the Suns last year, when he got the minutes, he was able to produce for fantasy. This guy does have some upside. He can get a double-double. Obviously, he'll grab some rebounds. He will score. At $5,600 against the Knicks, against Kanter, who is not a good defender, I like Len here as a cheap center play. And I think that is it for center, at least the cheap plays that really do catch my eye and stick out to me. And I think that is it for the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this video, and hopefully it did help you. Love the NBA's back. I'm going to love making these videos daily for you guys. I do really enjoy it. Hopefully you guys enjoy the videos as well. Just make sure you drop a like if you did enjoy. If you have not subscribed yet, make sure you do subscribe as well. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. If you do have any questions, you can always message me on Twitter. If you just have any questions about this slate, if you want to leave your thoughts about this slate, feel free to do so down below in the comment section. But yeah, guys, I think that is pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and good luck tonight on this 11-game slate. Peace.